What is going on? Oh boy, we are back. We are back with more training camp coverage. Day 8 in the books. Oh boy. Definitely didn't get any spicy fights out on the field. Didn't get any of that kind of stuff, but we did get some good stuff out here. Someone talking about the hats already. Um, if you want to get your own hat, you already know the vibes. Go to residency.com, use the promo code DSF Niners. This hat just dropped today, so you can get it done. What are we talking about here? Will you still be in the fantasy league this year? Yes, I will. I will be in the league, Adam, and this is the year that I take all your money, and it's happening now. So get prepared for it. Get prepared for it. This is the hat that Residency dropped today. You guys can grab it yourself. The mic does sound a little bit different than normal. Thank you. Oh, that was going the whole time. Awesome. There we go.
That should be better. All right, let's talk about training camp today. Shout out the offensive line. Shout out the offensive line. The offensive line did look definitely better today. Um, again, it's really easy to freak out about the offensive line, especially early. Especially early in training camp because one, there's no pads, and two, it kind of takes some time to gel. And we also understand there's been a rotation going on with the center position. We got two brand new guards, and both the tackles have been in and out because guess what? They're Mike McGlinchey's on a ramp up period back, and Trent Williams is Trent Williams. Shout out to Trent Williams, by the way. Um, it was a pretty cool scene. Trent Williams, kind of by the parking garage where the gate is. He was signing a whole bunch of autographs for fans. They were loving it. It was really cool to kind of see Trent Williams on the opposite side of the gate signing autographs for everyone. It was pretty cool. Um, so shout out Trent. Shout out George Kittle. You got to shout out George Kittle, man. George is constantly out there spending. He's probably up there with the most time spent autographing. So I know a lot of the fans get a kick out of that. Um, it's really cool to see the players stay behind and do all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, uh, my guy says, LOL, my questions never get answered on here. What's your question? Ask it right now. I'll answer it immediately. Ask away. But let's see. Did you even put a question in? I can't tell. But my guy Marquez says, I saw you at camp. Shout out everyone who said what's up. Someone said, what's up with Kinlaw? So far, up until now, just feels like there's no reports that he's hurt. It by all accounts, it just sounds like he's taking some time off to kind of get back up to speed. So we'll see, man. We'll see how it continues to go and continue to progress with him. Joey says, have Trey's mechanics look consistent throughout camp? I would say so. I would say Trey is definitely, from a throwing mechanics standpoint, his feet look pretty similar for the most part. I actually just listened to an interview that he did on KNBR with Greg Papa on my drive home, and it was just talking about how he had to kind of relearn how to grip the football because of the finger issue that he was having. Because again, in the Raider game, he kind of like fractured it or broke it, and then it changed the way he was throwing the football and gripping the football. So he's had to kind of like rework that. For the most part, from what I've seen from Trey, he looks he looks pretty consistent in regards to the way he winds up and throws each and every time. Uh, After camp, the 49ers signed wide receiver Willie Snead. Um, he was actually out there working out in front of Adam Peters, John Lynch, and then they signed him right after that. So Willie Snead is the newest member of the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers waived undrafted free agent wide receiver Taysir Mack earlier today, and so they kind of made a move. Obviously, felt like to kind of switch over. My guy VZ says, Brad, you the man. You're taller than I expected. You're the man. Shout out my guy. Shout out everyone who's been saying what's up. It's been a really cool experience meeting you guys out there and doing all that good stuff. Who's going to be the starting quarterback? It's definitely going to be Trey Lance out there starting this year. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be coming around anytime soon to steal any reps away from Trey Lance. My guy Memo says, what about Danny Gray? Danny Gray has had a pretty solid camp. I mean, it's quiet to start, and then he kind of exploded the other day. But so far, he continued to have some plays in camp that stood out. But Tay Martin today had a couple plays. Tay Martin, the other undrafted free agent that the 49ers brought in, had been kind of quiet. Didn't really get a whole lot of opportunities up until now. But today he had two good, really nice routes and catches after the fact. Tay Martin had a really good win against Diamador Lenore in 1v1s. And then he came back in team period and had, I believe, what was his first team period catch of training camp. So it's nice to see Tay Martin get involved a little bit. But Danny Gray definitely looks the part. That's for sure. Let's see. Is Trey Sermon going to get a lot of play this season? Right now, it feels like TDP and Elijah Mitchell are ahead of Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon has looked better this camp, but TDP had his best practice so far. Ty Davis Price definitely stepped up today. He had a much better day than previous days. Elijah Mitchell had a better day today than previous days. Elijah Mitchell would have busted a huge gain. I called it a touchdown because I felt that Elijah Mitchell had the angle on Jimmy Ward and he would have outrun Jimmy Ward for a touchdown, and it would have been like a 90-yard run. It was really nice in between Trent Williams and Aaron Banks. So the running backs have been looking good. Trey Sermon's been looking good, but today Elijah Mitchell and TDP definitely stood up and stood out today. That's for sure. Let me get to a question over here on YouTube. Let's see. Let's go. Legend. Aloha Smitty says, how has Ray Ray looked? Ray Ray looks pretty good. He looks like a guy that understands that he has a pretty good opportunity here in front of him, and he's working really hard at it. He is definitely putting in the time after practice. He is staying after almost every day, 20, 30, 40 minutes, working on routes, working on contested catches, working with other wide receivers. Ray Ray, and we've seen what Ray Ray is capable of. Obviously, it does feel like Ray Ray is going to be the number one returner for the 49ers, but there is an opportunity for Ray Ray to get a little bit more involved in the actual offense. So I really like what I've seen from Ray Ray. I think he's definitely kind of solidified himself. Ray Ray had a really good rep versus Tariq Castro Fields in one-on-ones. Got the win on him. Ray Ray has been, consistently involved He doesn't get targeted a whole lot, but he's definitely out there and he definitely looks the part. So far, like what I see from Ray Ray, I think he's going to fit in nicely. Um, let's see. Yes, wait. Yes, I'm definitely ignoring your question, JD. Is the O line a question for concern? I think the questions around the offensive line are valid just because there's a lot of unknowns. We've talked about it all training camp, leading up to training camp. We don't know. We don't know what we're going to get. We're starting to get a better idea of what we have. Spencer Burford really does look the part. Spencer Burford, I mean, I cannot reiterate how big he is. When he came over to sign autographs for fans the other day, it really kind of dawned on me how big Spencer Burford is. And at his size, he's always been a very athletic, big guy. And so kind of kicking him into interior offensive line, you can kind of see how it's like it really does feel like a perfect spot for Burford. Really does feel like he has an opportunity to kind of highlight all his strengths on the interior. And again, his size, he is massive. So he already has the basically baseline kind of skill set to be a pass blocker because he had to do it at UTSA because he played left tackle. So you have to be able to pass block. By kicking him inside to guard, you take that size, you take the ability to move, and you put that at the guard position. And he's doing a really good job, man. He really is. Like, it was a huge surprise to see Spencer Burford out there starting with the ones at right guard, but I can understand it. I get it. Like, it makes sense. Like, it's not just being handed to him. Like, he deserves right now, from everything that I've seen, he deserves that role. So Spencer Burford's looking pretty good out there. Aaron Banks had a good day today. Aaron Banks had a good day today. Again, no Eric Armstead, no Kinlaw, and no Nick Bosa, but still, and you had McGlinchey kind of in the first part, and McGlinchey's looked really good so far. Um, but he did take kind of the rest of the day off. He started team period and kind of took it off from there. But when the starting O line is in, um, you can you can see the things starting to work together. You can see it start to gel. That's it's always going to favor the defense early in camp for the most part, especially when you have the weapons that the 49ers have on defense. It's absolutely going to benefit the 49ers defense early in camp. But now that the offense is starting to get their footing under them, the O line is getting more. This is now the third padded practice. The O line definitely had a much, much better day today. Definitely their best day of all of training camp. So that's a sign in the right direction. Obviously, there's still this kind of revolving door at center. Today, after Kyle Shanahan said that Brendel was going to kind of get the nod for the start, Brunskill came out and started today. So it continued, and they continue to split reps today. They did two. They would go 2 on, 2 off, 2 on, 2 off with the starting group, and they would just kind of rotate back and forth. Brunskill did struggle a little bit with, I think he had a false start in the first team period, and he had a high snap right after that. But once he was able to get back in, he kind of settled down. Jake Brendel had a good day today. Didn't make any, mistakes. I didn't really see anything that was glaring from that regard. Um, so I think it's really up to the coaches. It's really up to what the coaches want to do. Um, I heard from Chris Forster yesterday, the 49ers offensive line coach. He really likes Brendel. So that kind of made sense to me why Brendel is getting the opportunity. Forster really likes him, and by all accounts, rightfully so. But we're just gonna see. We're just gonna see how it continues to progress. Uh, what's good, Locksmith? It was great meeting you today, bro. My guy, you're tall as hell, bro. You guys like 6'5" out here. Shout out to Locksmith, bro. Was dropping legendary bars during our playoff run. I hope we get them again, man. I hope we get some more of those legendary bars from you, especially if we hit a playoff run. That is going to be fuego. Definitely looking forward to that. Let me get to some questions. Yes, sir. He said bars on the way. You'll love to see it. Let me get to a question over here on uh, Instagram. My guy Alex says, any Taylor Hawkins updates from today? Nothing that stood out to me. Uh, but I will admit I also wasn't totally focused in on the safeties today. I was definitely locked in on the O line. My eyes were in the trenches today. But I will say this: we were sitting with the great Eric Crocker, former NFL defensive back, uh, and again swag champ out here. He really appreciated Taylor Hawkins' swag today. He said that that's the way my swag would have looked when I was playing. So he got a Taylor Hawkins definitely got a little swagoo praise from the great Eric Crocker. Uh, so that's about the only thing that I got. I didn't watch again a whole lot of Taylor Hawkins today. But he has looked. I've liked what I've seen from Taylor Hawkins throughout training camp this far. Let me get to another one over here on IG. How is Drake Jackson looking, bro? Did you see the backflip that Drake Jackson did today? No guy should be that big doing backflips like that. Absolutely insane. But Drake Jackson has looked really good. He's gotten opportunities to run with the ones. Drake Jackson feels like he's going to be a player, man. What I love about Drake Jackson is he's raw and like admittedly raw. Like he's like he was in between different what's up, Jesse? He's got he was working out of different types of schemes at USC. They had him fluctuating in weight. This is the first time that he's really getting an opportunity to play defensive end in a 4-3 defense, and you can see he fits it really well. So far, Drake Jackson has been a standout, man. Been a standout. I like it. I really like what I see. My guy says, I'm feeling sad, bro. No love here. It's all good, man. The algorithms don't favor your boy at the moment. It's all good. Justin E says, "Yo, Brad, I heard that Jordan Mason ran a good go route, split out wide today. Did you see that? I didn't see a whole lot from Jordan Mason today. Definitely saw more out of Elijah Mitchell and um, TDP than previous days, but didn't mean it didn't happen. I didn't particularly see it at this point. Does Jordan Mason make the team over Hasty and Wilson? I think the 49ers are going to have a very tough conversation about that. I think Jordan Mason has an opportunity to definitely make this roster. I mean, he looks good enough. Jordan Mason looks the part. He's still kind of running with the threes for the most part, but Jordan Mason is pretty dope. I really like what I see from him so far. So Hasty does have a Again, he's kind of been the 49ers' third down back since he's been here, and he's doing well in that role in camp so far. Um, so it's going to be, again, it's going to be a hard conversation for the 49ers in that regard. Why do we overlook Demo so much? That's a good question. That's a good question. I think it's because Demo's kind of buried on the depth chart. I would say that's potentially why I'm maybe overlooking him a bit, is because, like today, we got a Samuel Womack sack in team period. I think he was running with the ones. We've seen Darquez Denard. We've seen Samuel Womack. We've seen Dante Johnson run with the ones. We haven't seen Diamador Lenore run with the ones. I don't think it's because Diamador is not capable. I think Diamador's talented. And but it feels like they're dealing with kind of a numbers game. And I don't really know what that numbers game and how that translates into Diamador getting run with the ones. So he's had a couple plays. He had an interception. And I think he had a strip um, a couple days ago or throughout the last couple days of practice. But for the most part, he does feel kind of buried right now on the depth chart. So that's probably why it feels like he's getting overlooked, just because it feels like the team is kind of overlooking him a bit. Let me get to some of these uh, IG questions so these guys aren't feeling left out. Is Trey Lance throws wobbly? Any concern there? No. I mean, he will throw an occasional wobbly pass, but again, I think you got more insight from Trey Lance today when he was talking on CamBR with Greg Papa. Dude, dude couldn't even throw the football last year because he had a broken finger, man. What's good, Frank? Shout out the homie Frank. Um, so I think with Trey, everything is going to continue to progress. Have you and Trent locked eyes yet? If so, bro, so I had a straight fanboy moment today. I'm not going to lie. I straight, like when I go to training camp, I sit in the bleachers, um, I like do all my notes and like I recap notes and I do all that type of stuff. Um, I like do that type of stuff. But today, Trent was there, like in the parking lot signing autographs. I straight up just was like, all right. I was deciding, I was like, all right, do I be professional and just like videotape everyone getting autographs? Or I'm like, do I just straight fanboy and try to get an autograph? I was like, screw it. It's Trent Williams, man. I'm going to straight fanboy and try to get an autograph. So, bro, I'm telling you, like, I started on one side. I was getting closer. I wanted to sign my hat. I was getting closer and closer and closer. And then I was like, okay, I got to get to the other side because he was moving in a direction. I got to the other side. Someone had like a football and they were like, I had moved my way up right next to them. They had their football out. He signed it. My hat was right here. He was going to like sign it, but like someone was talking to him and he dipped out because there were cars coming that needed to come out of where he was standing. And so literally he was about to sign it and someone started to talk to, like it was crazy. It was literally like he was about to put the pen to the hat and someone said you got to move and then he moved. I didn't get the autograph. I was like, "Oh, my fanboy moment didn't come to fruition." But again, man, like it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. It would have been pretty fire if I walked away with the Trent Williams autograph. I would have been pretty happy about that. But again, like I said, like I haven't done that in a while. Like, like I've been really trying to be, professional as much as I can. Oh, let's go! Shout out the homie. Um, but hey, I saw him. I was like, oh, what would be better than getting a autograph? But hey, it was a fun story. It was a fun story. And shout out Trent. He got a lot of people. Like he got a lot of people signed. It was really cool that he was even doing that in the first place. So again, shout out Trent, man. He didn't have to do that. Had a huge crowd around him. It was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool. Let me come back over to YouTube. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna keep going back and forth here to see what I got here. Let's see. Let me find a good one. Who is going to be our nickel corner? I don't know. It feels like it's a toss up between Darquez Denard, uh, Dante Johnson, and Samuel Womack. Again, Samuel Womack had a sack today in team period, coming off the edge. Would have got a sack, I think, on Trey Lance. He got there fast. So you see him flashing. So I feel like it's going to be one of those three guys. Feels like Darquez Denard has the first up. We'll see after that. Does anyone care about how Ambry Thomas is doing? I don't know. Does anyone care about how Ambry Thomas is doing? He's not doing great, unfortunately. You know, if it's Ambry versus Brandon Ayuk has won 100 out of 100 times. Like Brandon Ayuk is playing just on a completely different level right now. Ambry is having a hard time. I mean, you've seen a lot of those highlight catches that Brandon Ayuk is having are on Brandon Ayuk. Or I'm sorry, Ambry Thomas. So he's having a rough camp, but he also had a rough camp last year. So we'll see. I think there's ability there. I mean, we saw it. We saw him progress in season. But we'll see how it continues to go. How is Mr. Irrelevant doing? Well, they brought in a quarterback today to work out. I'll be honest. That quarterback did not do a good job. He was he kind of bombed the workout because they had D.D. Westbrook come in. They signed Willie Snead and they had this quarterback thrown to him. He was kind of throwing balls off the dirt. So I think Brock Purdy's spot is safe for now. Dog says, are 90% of the questions just people trying to find out what they should be concerned about? Does it seem like most people seem to worry more than seem to be happy? I think people just want to know. I think people just want to know like what's going down. In that regard, I think they want to kind of feel up to speed in regards to just like what do we have to be concerned about? Is are the 49ers offensive line really a work in progress? Is Trey Lance really having a hard time? Like people just want to know that type of stuff. So I got no problems with that. I really got no problems with that at all. So if people want to kind of understand, because it happens. And no, Tom Brady did not retire. Kyle Juszczyk. Kyle Juszczyk got a little payback today. Kyle Juszczyk got a little payback today on Dre Greenlaw, circa 2019. I don't know if you guys have seen that practice clip of Dre Greenlaw when he was a rookie like completely lay out Kyle Juszczyk. It's a pretty famous practice clip. I posted it a bunch of times. I know other accounts post it too. But if you've seen that clip, it felt like a little bit of a payback. Might have took a couple years, but Trey hit Kyle in the flat, and you had Dre Greenlaw come up, and Juszczyk just put his shoulder into him and kind of put him into the turf. So it felt like a little bit of a redemption from Kyle Juszczyk on Dre Greenlaw. So kind of put him into the dirt. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Shout out all the STS. We see you guys. Let's see. What other questions do we have? Jason Barrett update. He's out there before practice every day. He looks pretty good. Like he's moving well. He really is. He's moving well. Considering like not understanding where he was at coming into training camp and the fact that we kind of get to see him. He's running full length. He's doing lateral work. He's doing speed cuts. He's doing jumping. He's doing resistant running. He's doing a lot of stuff. So it does feel like Jason Barrett is going to play this year. Now, do we know when he'll play this year? I'm not really sure when. But it does feel like he will. So that's pretty exciting. Because if the 49ers have Charvarius Ward, Emmanuel Mosley, and Jason Barrett out there, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. Someone said, will Leon O'Neal Jr. make the team? Probably not. It feels like the 49ers are going to keep 4 safeties. It felt like there might have been an opportunity to kind of take Tarvarius Moore's job, but Tarvarius Moore has been playing all right. Actually, Tarvarius Moore's been playing pretty good. So it kind of feels like it's going to be obviously Jimmy Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, Tarvarius Moore, and George Odom. That's what it feels like the safeties are going to be. And I think guys like Leon O'Neal and Taylor Hawkins who show promise, like I definitely think there's promise there. There's potential. They would probably benefit of potentially being a special teamer and a practice squad guy who could potentially get called up for games to be a part of the special teams unit. I think that's where they're going to have a good opportunity. And like, especially too with preseason coming up. Like, I think when we look at guys like Leon O'Neal Jr. and we look at Taylor Hawkins, if they can go out on special teams and, you know, make a name for themselves, run around, make plays in that phase, and especially if you have kind of like the big 4 holding it down at the safety spot, then it feels like the other guys could have an opportunity to make it to the practice squad, but also potentially get used in special team situations when needed, because we understand what happens. Injuries occur, and they're going to need to step in and fill in and potentially come in on special teams. But right now, it feels like the top 4 safeties are kind of locked in so far. But hey, we'll see. We will see. Let's see. What other questions do we have over here? Long Island Girls says, Brad, would you say Trey has made big improvements throughout camps or small strides? I would definitely say he's more on the small strides. You know, but I also don't expect him, like, I don't think he's starting off on like such an ultra low level that it has to be like these big strides. Like, you see his ability to throw the long ball. Like, you see his ability to throw outside the numbers. You see his ability to throw it over the middle. You see his ability to throw it in the flat. Like, he shows that he can make every throw. It's just making every throw consistently. And that's really all it comes down to. And that is to be expected with someone who doesn't have a whole lot of reps. Um, so I really think that's what it comes down to is Trey Lance is making strides. He is getting better. He is getting better every day. So as long as he continues to get better every day, then I think he's gonna be good to go, man. I think he's gonna be good to go. But again, we got to give him a little bit of patience. JTH says, "Would you prefer Brendel or and Brunny at center?" And wait, Brendel and Brunny at center and right guard, or Brunny and Burford at this point. I feel pretty comfortable with Burford. I feel pretty comfortable with Burford, honestly, at right guard at this point. Um, I think, with Brunskill, like in his skill set, which you guys know I like, um, Burford brings a little bit different dynamic. And we talked about it before. He's really good at pass protection. And I know, 49er fans have complained about that from that particular spot for a while now, going back to even Persons. So it feels like Burford has a legitimate like opportunity to hold down that right guard spot. So determining who the center is going to be, it feels like it's going to be between Brendel or Brunskill. I know what Brunskill is. Like I know what's good about Brunskill. I know things that he needs to like potentially work or whatever. Like I know what he is, so it's easier for me to land on Brunskill because I feel like that skill set translates better. Um, for right now because like even like in practices like he's still a problem when it comes to getting the second level. Like he is really good. Like he had a rep today where he completely walled off Aziz, and we know Aziz is a very fast linebacker. He absolutely beat Aziz to the spot on the second level, and those are the things that like Brunskill's really good at, and especially in these types of outside or mid zone schemes, you have to be able to get to second level. And the fact that he can do that, they also pulled him the other day from the center position. So he adds a little bit more versatility than from what I can see at this point. But Brendel's also doing a good job too. Brendel's also he's a cleaner snapper, I think, at this point. His snaps are more consistent because he's been a center this whole time. So that's what he does. He's used to snapping and shotgun and doing all that kind of stuff. Um, so we'll see. We'll see how it actually plays out. Again, Brunskill got the run with the ones today. Um, but we'll see how it continues to progress. If it were up to me, I just feel more comfortable with Brunny because I know what Brunny is. I know exactly what he's capable of. Right now, the only thing that I see him really working on is just trying to get those snaps on point. And I think that's his biggest point of emphasis right now. Um, Kyle said today that the Niners were the most physical team in the league last year. Do you agree that part? Uh, because we have the best left tackle, tight end, fullback, linebacker in the game. Tough nosed positions. I mean, Nick Bosa's a tough son of a gun. Trent Williams and George Kittle blocking on the outside. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, but yeah, you could absolutely make the case that they're the most physical team in the NFL for sure. I mean, they're a smash mouth, run the rock, down your face type team. Their linebackers are some of the hardest hitting linebackers in the NFL. I mean, we saw when Aziz Al Shair completely smashed his face mask. We saw what that looked like. Shout out Cash the God. Appreciate that, my guy. Says SDS bread gang. Shout out my day 2 boy. Appreciate you. We got Luke chilling in the back, tatting it up. Appreciate you guys. Jesse says Debo that like button. Shout out all the SDS. Oh, here we go. Caleb says, SDS, do me a favor. Send a shout out to my Springville Red Devils football team. Tonight is our red versus blue game. What position do you play, Caleb? But shout out the Red Devils. Go get some tonight. Go get after it. Let's see. Someone said, I hope we utilize Kittle more as a tight end than as a blocker this season. I mean, part of the responsibility of playing tight end is blocking, and Kyle loves to run the football. So you definitely need to see it. Let's see. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Shout out the SF Niner Dave. Appreciate you, my boy. Shout out all the homies. Let's see what else we got. Let me try to go back a little bit here. What's the impact you think the new assistant coaches will have? Coach Lynn, Greasy, special teams. So I've already kind of seen this a little bit. We've already seen Anthony Lynn, like the day before the break. They were making a concerted effort to throw the ball out of the backfield. So if you go back and you check Anthony Lynn's history, you go back to his time with the Chargers, you go back to his time with Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon is putting up 50 to 60 receptions a year in that offense led by Anthony Lynn. So in the team period that they had 2 days ago, I would say more than 50% of those passes went to running backs. You had Trey Lance hitting JaMychal Hasty for a touchdown out of the backfield in red zone period. It feels like there's going to be a concerted effort to get the ball to these running backs. So I think that's an impact from the coaching staff that I can see from a schematic standpoint. Greasy TBD at this point. He's a rookie coach, so it's kind of hard to determine what Greasy could be, or what he's going to bring to the table, just because I have no idea what his coaching style is, or any of that type of stuff. Special teams, I think we can definitely expect a big special teams change. It feels like they invested in special teams this year. You got Orrin Burks, George Odom, Ray McLeod looks like he's going to be the primary returner. Looks like Ayuk's still going to get some run back there, and potentially Danny Gray. So I think there's going to be some changes based on the new coaching staff. But yeah, we're going to continue to see what that looks like. Why so many reports of Trey only completing 50% of the passes this camp? I'm guessing D is killing it, or numbers are skewed due to only 1 week so far. Seems like he's cooking just fine from highlights. Thoughts being there in person. I'm definitely not a camp stat person. I've played football, I've been in that environment. They're not worried about stats. They are not worried about stats at all in practice. They're working situation, they're trying to do certain things. Also, too, what those completions don't tell the full story of how many of those are drops, or how many of those are just phenomenal plays by the defenders. So I'm not worried about the 50% practice completion thing. I'm not too concerned about the numbers from training camp. I think that's not much of a big deal, really. the things that I'm looking for is just consistency, taking steps forward in being more consistent. Um, he's done a really good job of being able to bounce back after making mistakes or making a turnover or doing things like that. So those are positives to take away. Like, let's say he did throw an interception. He's typically came right back and started dealing. So those are the kinds of things that I'm looking at. I'm really less concerned about some of those stats because you look at like Nate Sudfeld and some of his stats, like a lot of those stats, he's completing passes to running backs out of the backfield. So it looks the context isn't there when you just look at the numbers. So I would take all training camp stats with a massive grain of salt, um, because they're working situation, they're working so many different things, um, that training camp stats aren't really the big thing. Um, who's a player or players that are surprising you at camp? I mean, Spencer Burford has surprised me. The fact that he's been able to step in with the ones and do what he's been able to do, I'm pretty surprised by that. Typically transitioning from college to the pros, um, that's a big jump from an O line D line standpoint because the defensive linemen in college are way less technically polished, way less like advanced in regards to scheming up particular games in like run fits or rushing the passer or things like that. Like you'll have guys in the NFL that are working you with outside speed for 3 reps in a row, and then once they get you to open up your gate, they bull rush you, and it's like it's a whole game that they play, and it just they have the technique and the athletic ability behind it. College, you don't have that so much. So typically, the transition going from offensive line to college to the NFL, it's typically a pretty big jump. But I've been really surprised with Burford how he's been able to handle it. Doesn't feel like it's too big for him. Um, feels like it's a good situation. Details up to something over here. Details up to something over here on Instagram. Don't know what it is yet, but he's up to something. Let's see some other surprises from training camp. You could say Jordan Mason has been a bit of a surprise. You know, there's some kind of hype about him heading in, but he's looked really good. He's kind of surprised a bit. I think Quantrez Knight has had a pretty good camp. He had a bad day today. He got burnt pretty good by Ayuk. Danny Gray, I think, got him on another one. But Quantrez Knight has made some plays that has stood out to me. Um, Jason Poe has stood out to me. He's now running with the twos. I think that's a nice update. Is that Jason Poe is now running with the second team offensive line. He went from third string to second team. Kicked Sutherland, I think, back to the third team. And he's, I believe, also playing in front of Zakel. So Jason Poe, kind of a surprise. Tanner Hudson, sneaky surprise. Tanner Hudson had a pancake today on Jordan Willis, like absolutely just drove him into the ground. He's made a lot of really good catches. He's had some contested catches. Tanner Hudson's been kind of a surprise. Tyler Croft has been kind of a surprise. I think Tyler Croft is potentially pushing for a starting spot. Who else? Oren Burks has looked good. There's a bunch of guys out there. Poe's playing right guard. Yeah, Poe's playing right guard. So again, he's with the twos right now. He started with the threes and he's bumped his way up to the twos. Um, and he does pretty good. One of the biggest things that I wanted to see from Jason Poe was can he like manage the physicality in the trenches uh with pads on. And so far he's done a pretty good job. Like he's not perfect. He's not, it's not like he's won every rep, but he's looked pretty good for the most part. He's looked pretty good for the most part. He's got great leverage. Great leverage. Let's see. Let me get to some other questions here. I'm gonna check YouTube for some other questions. Let's see. What do we got? Debo in the slot? Maybe. You know Debo. You can move Debo wherever. Debo could literally play any position outside of tight end and offensive line. On the offense, someone said Hufanga. I think Hufanga's looked pretty good. So yeah, man. Today I feel like was a bit of a ramp up. Wasn't like crazy. Wasn't like crazy fast or anything like that. What's up, Cynthia? SDS. Justin says, Brad, if Mason is in competition with Hasty for that receiving role, do you think his size gives him an edge? I think what gives Jordan Mason the edge is his running ability. The fact that Jordan Mason is a big-bodied running back who can catch the ball out of the backfield, but of course run the ball physically and with the downhill nature. I think that's the separation right now. Is Hasty is a good receiving back. I like him out of the backfield. He's okay in between the tackles right now. So I think that's the biggest differentiator between Mason and Hasty. Is Mason's feels like a complete back. Like not Hasty. Mason feels like a complete back. Hasty feels like a kind of third down gadgety type guy. You know what I mean? Like he has a role, but it feels like Jordan Mason can develop into a 3-down back, and I think that's the difference between the two. Seems like trailing ants raised a bunch of eyebrows today. Do you mean Trey Lance? Oh boy. Seems like trailing ants. Now that is a typo correction right there. Is Trey Lance raised a bunch of eyebrows today with how good he did to the short to intermediate passes. Yeah, he's doing better. He's definitely doing better. And doing all that good stuff. I think Trey Lance, again, I think the only thing that you just want to see out of Trey is just a little bit more consistency, but that's about it. Like he's definitely had solid opportunities to show what he's capable of. I think he looks good. He definitely looks like he can go out there and manage an offense. So I'm pretty excited, man. My guy says, "Do you think Trey Lance is the real deal?" I do, but I also think Trey Lance still needs some time to kind of get up to speed. I still think he's a good player. I think he's going to be a really good player for the 49ers this year. But like, I think about like week 10. It took the 49ers offense until week 10 last year against the Rams to like really figure it out. Like, because again, the 49ers offense at the beginning of the year just was like, there's no rhythm, felt like there's no identity, that type of stuff. And then once they got things going week 10, it really kind of picked up. So I feel like the 49ers kind of could be going into like an offensive identity situation where they're going to need to get out there, play against other teams, and kind of see what works, what doesn't work, and kind of develop a rhythm. Once they develop a rhythm between running, play action, and passing, and they can find those sweet spots. This offense is going to be really hard to stop. It's going to be really hard to stop. Bosa's going to get his deal next year. I don't think it's going to be this year. It's going to be next year. Hashtag SDS. Hashtag trailing ants. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. But I think that is going to be it for me today. I will be out. I like this. Cynthia says the mom in me doesn't want Trey to be overly pressured. The pressure's coming for Trey Lance, Cynthia. So our sweet little baby boy Trey Lance, he's gonna be put under the gun, and we're gonna kind of have to take the training wheels off, maybe a little bit before we're ready. I feel like and it's not a bad thing. I just think Trey has a lot of expectations. Trey has a lot of stuff that people are projecting onto him. And, we kind of got to be your mom, I'm a dad, kind of got to take the training wheels off and just kind of give him a little push and be like, let's watch our baby shine. They're going to have those bumps and bruises along the way. They're going to have those moments where you're going to want to pick him back up, but you're going to have to let him pick himself back up. And once that rhythm starts to develop, I think it's going to be just fine. Pretty excited about it. Still feels like the offense that they're showing us in training camp is pretty vanilla. But we'll see. We'll see how it continues to progress. But I'm gonna head out. We got training camp back tomorrow. We're gonna have all kinds of more content and updates. Again, the residency dropped this hat. I think I missed it earlier. Someone set me up with a layup and I fumbled it. But if you do want to get this residency hat drop today, you can go to residency.com. Use the promo code the SF Niners. You already know the vibes. Get a little discount, all that good stuff. But I'm out of here for today. If you see me tomorrow, say what's up. It's been great connecting with all the faithful out there. You guys are phenomenal. But I'm out. That's it for me today. Appreciate you guys. Oh, all right. Done with Instagram. Appreciate you guys over here on YouTube. Smash that button on your way out. Make sure you hit those noti bells. We've been the live schedule's been a little crazy. Hasn't really been ultra consistent. So appreciate everyone kind of hopping in and out with us. Because I know it's been kind of all over the place. But again, do appreciate everyone who's tapped in, continues to vibe with us, and get all that content out. So I appreciate you guys. I'm out of here, and we're going to block this guy on the way out. All right. And he's blocked. Love to see it. Peace. Have a good one.